having the courage to show up. And they're hurting, and they're going to be hurting for a long, long time. We lost somebody really, really special to us. And, we're going to make sure we continue to honor him throughout the year. And just proud of the kids. Like you said, we had some great performances, but I was a lot more happy about the smiles I saw on the sideline and the hugging. And it's been a tough few days, so today was a good one for us.
Welcome to the Prep Rally Podcast, sponsored by West Termite Pest and Lawn. Graham Thomas and Rick Fires here in Northwest Arkansas, and Leland Barclay joins us in the River Valley. And guys, it's week 10 of the high school football season, and certainly we've got a lot to get to in this week's Prep Rally episode. But first, we're going to take a moment to remember Greenwood wide receiver Isaiah Arrington, who was killed in a tragic house fire last week along with his mother and sister in Greenwood. And Leland, we'll start off with you. Just a very, very tragic and sad time in Greenwood. And I know that you had spoken with Isaiah on a number of occasions throughout his high school career. Just a very tough loss for the Greenwood community.
Yeah, just sports in general gives us a lot of, thrills and happiness and great moments. It can also be heartbreaking. We cover a basketball team that's undefeated and loses in a state championship game, or a softball team that's undefeated and loses in a state championship game. But it's nothing like the heartbreak that, we all experienced last week, especially the Greenwood community, the Greenwood school system, and the Greenwood football team. It's definitely something that none of us really get, prepared for as, sports writers or coaches or players, especially 17 and 18-year-old players. So it's definitely difficult for everybody, especially, everybody in Greenwood. Outstanding young man. I think Chris Young probably said it best last week that, it goes way beyond just being a great football player, an outstanding young man. Very, very energetic, very nice, personable young man, and it's a tragedy, and they're like Coach Young also said, they're beginning to see some healing, and that's going to take a while.
Rick?
Well, I didn't really know the family, but man, when I saw that in the paper, I thought, oh my goodness, I was, tears. I mean, just a little girl, innocent, 5 years old, and the football player, athletic, got whole life in front of them. And it's just, we see this on occasion. I like to turn to sports and kind of get away from the real world. But, man, then the real world just comes up to you and hits you with a 2x4 and knocks you down, about knocks you out. And that's about how we all felt when we heard about this. And man, Coach Young and that football team, man, you're just feeling for them. I mean, that's all I can say.
But as the world turns, so to speak, I mean, sports are a part of the healing process. And I know last week, the team, we saw it on the video there. The South Side community really, in a lot of communities around Northwest Arkansas and the River Valley really embraced Greenwood. I know Fayetteville ran out with a Greenwood flag. Yeah. And there are a lot of tributes to everybody just reaching, pouring, wrapping their arms around Greenwood and during this tough time. And that's kind of what we do around here. We all rally together, and that's what we're doing now, and we'll continue to do so. So again, our condolences to the Greenwood community, and thank you guys for saying a few words about all this. And we will keep Greenwood in our thoughts and prayers during this tough time. All right, well, guys, let's jump into our Gimme 5 for the week. So, Leland, we'll let you take it away.
These are the top 5 performances of the last week in the River Valley. Of course, number 1, we always start with the River Valley Democrat-Gazette Player of the Week. This week, it's junior running back Hunter Warren of Boonville in a 48-45 win over Charleston. Hunter Warren rushed 31 times for 303 yards and a touchdown in all 4 quarters. and then he kind of sealed the win with a fumble recovery from his linebacker position, um, on defense. And it was so funny. I think Harold McIlvain caught everything in perspective. Dax Goff, the greatest running back in Boonville history, was on the sideline on Friday night. He came down from, he's playing at Harding University and came down and watched the game. And Hunter Warren, saw him there. And, he said he just wants to be like Dax. So a definite Dax-like performance, 303 yards rushing and 4 touchdowns in a big win in a rivalry game on Friday night. And then number two, of course, we talk about healing and things, and it's so appropriate that Grant Carnes, Greenwood receiver, a senior receiver, along with Isaiah Arrington on that team, uh, returned the opening kickoff, 98 yards for a touchdown on Friday night to kind of kickstart Greenwood's 70-28 win over Southside. And then, of course, he caught 10 passes for 155 yards and one of 8 touchdown passes by Kane Archer in the first half, which ties
Wow.
a state record for a quarterback throwing 8 touchdown passes in that first quarter. 4 of those to Champ Davis. Kane Archer now has completed 80%. He's a little over 80% of his passes for the year. He was 22 of 26 on Friday night. He's now thrown 43 touchdown passes this season, which matches the number of incomplete passes he's thrown this year as well. So 43 and 43, and we'll watch that ratio going forward and see where that ends up. And then number 3, Daniel Burton, a senior running back from Mansfield, rushed only 8 times for 218 yards and touchdowns of 36 and 84 yards in a 66-20 win over Greenland on Friday night that cinched the top seed for the Tigers in the Class 3A playoffs coming up, and also solidified their second conference championship in school history.
Hey,
As
you
a
called
team that
that one, Leland.
Do what?
You called that one, the Mansfield Conference Championship. You were on board from the very beginning.
Well, it's like I said last week, it's a small band of Tigers, only 21 players in all, and they had to call up one of the freshman Burtons to help out, and he intercepted a pass and returned it for a touchdown on Friday night. But 36 rushes for 466 yards as a team in that win on Friday night. And then number 4, Braden Polecat tied a state record in Alma's 49-14 win over Pea Ridge on Friday night. He intercepted a pass 1 yard deep in the end zone and returned it for a touchdown, which statistically it is recorded as a 100-yard interception return. So that ties a state record since nothing can be any longer. But it's also the significance of that interception. And we look at the final score, it was 49-14. But at the time, it was 28-7 in favor of Alma. And then with 10 seconds left is when Polecat intercepted that pass in the end zone. So if Pea Ridge can score there, it's 28-14. They get the opening kickoff in the second half, and they go down and score. So it could have possibly been a 28-21 game early in the third quarter. Instead, that play just changed everything, and Alma went on to win 49-14. Number 5, Braxton Goodson, a quarterback from Salisaw Central, on Friday night rushed for 197 yards and a touchdown in a 20-14 win over Gore. But he also made a big defensive play when he intercepted a pass with 1:34 left that secured the win, and now Salisaw Central will play for a district championship on Friday night.
Making plays on offense and defense. I always like to hear that. There aren't a lot of two-way players, anymore, not like there used to be. But, you get this late in the season, you start hearing a lot more about guys, having to do a little bit extra. And
Well, and you look at all those guys. Hunter Warren had that fumble recovery late. Grant Carnes returns a kickoff 98 yards for a touchdown to get that game started. Daniel Burton also plays a lot of defense. And then, of course, Braxton Goodson with that, interception late. So, and Braden Polecat even, he plays receiver a lot for the Airedales. So all 5 of these guys play on both sides of the ball.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's another solid edition of the Gimme Five for this week, and let's talk of the River Valley Sports Report. And man, a lot of celebrations to talk about there, Leland.
Well, and this week, of course, it's week 10, if you can believe it already. A lot of senior nights last week, senior nights this week, and Greenwood will celebrate senior night on Friday night. A big game coming up. They host Mountain Home, and as odd as it is to believe, and we talk about Greenwood, they've been number one in 6A all year. They've mostly been number three and even number two overall in the state in some rankings and polls. They still need to win on Friday night to secure that top seed in the Class 6A playoffs on Friday night. So still a lot to play for, especially for the Bulldogs on Friday night. Uh, Sallisaw will go to Ada on Friday night, also with a district title on the line. Sallisaw set that up with a 63-14 win over Stillwell last week. Pecola, the Indians won the Battle of P-Towns, defeating Pecola 30-20 after trailing 14-0 at the half. And of course, there's a lot of other games with a lot of seedings on the line too. Springdale travels to Northside on Friday night. Shiloh Christian goes to Van Buren on Friday night. So a lot of big games on, coming up in this regular season finale. And then in cross country, the state meet is this week, so we'll have some championships there. And save the best for last. Volleyball
Absolutely.
in the River Valley, not one but two state championships this week. Paris won the Class 3A state title with a 3-1 win over Central Arkansas Christian for their fifth state title in school history in volleyball. Claire Zeiler was the MVP. Outstanding performance by the Paris Lady Eagles. And then Hackett completed a dominant 36-0 undefeated
Wow.
season, winning the Class 2A state title with a sweep of England, 25-11, 25-11, and 25-13. Michaelan Freeman was the MVP for their third state title at Hackett. But it's great for this senior class. They had been runners-up the last 3 years. But what a dominant performance by the Hackett Lady Hornets. In the state tournament last week, they defeated Taylor in the semifinals 25-6, 25-5, and 25-12. And then in the second round match, they won 25-8, 25-9, and 25-14 over St. Joseph. And of course, they got a first round bye. But at the state tournament, or at the state championship on Saturday, when CAC or when England did get to 11, or I guess when they got to 10 in that first set, there was kind of a small celebration because just getting to double digits against Hackett this year was quite an accomplishment. But just a shout out to those two teams for winning, I guess it would be the first team championships of the year in volleyball.
That Hackett team also had a victory against Shiloh Christian. They beat Fort Smith Southside, I believe, in the Fort Smith tournament. So, it's not like they were just beating up on the smaller schools. They played some bigger schools as well.
And they beat Paris. So they beat the 3A state champion, they beat the 5A state champion, and they beat, I think you could safely say the best team in the 6A West, even though Southside was upset in the semifinals. So yeah, it was not against a bunch of cupcakes.
Well, it was. The Southside was the 6A West champion. So, all right. Well, that's just a lot of great stuff coming out of the River Valley this week, and we're going to take a break. As we go to break, though, we got some interviews from the Paris Lady Eagles and Coach Fulmer, and the Hackett Lady Hornets. So check these interviews out. This is Prep Rally.
You guys seemed focused from the beginning. Was that kind of the case?
Yes, Ms. Freeman told us we had to stay locked in the entire time because you never know what can happen in state, and I'm just so blessed to be able to play with all these girls. It's so much fun.
Yes, we wanted it more than anything for these seniors. I moved them up as ninth graders, and just to see them get 3 runners-ups in a row, they were really chasing that championship hard.
And we're back with the Prep Rally podcast, sponsored by West Termite Pest and Lawn. Graham Thomas and Rick Fires with you from Northwest Arkansas, and Leland Barclay joins us in the River Valley. All right, we're going to jump into the top 5 for performances from Northwest Arkansas. And without any further ado, here is Ricky Fires.
All right, let's keep it right here on volleyball, man. Got to give props to Shiloh Christian. They won the Class 5A state championship, sweeping Greenbrier. That's pretty impressive when you get to the state championship game and you sweep your opponent. A good win for Shiloh. They captured the 5A title after finishing the runner-up last season in 4A. They've had a really strong program for several years now. Congratulations to the Saints, the Lady Saints. Back to football. The scoring binge continues. I was at this game, going nuts, trying to keep up with it. Rogers, 70. Springdale Harbor, 42. Rogers quarterback Jeff Regan ran for 6 touchdowns and passed for 1 touchdown. 372 yards on the ground and 6 touchdowns on 18 carries. He also threw for a touchdown. I think he had about 130 yards passing. Man, this kid is just so impressive. He's not that big in stature, but he's stout. He runs around the corner. He beats these guys on the corner. He outruns people. And then there was a couple of occasions where he just ran over some people trying to get the first down. So very impressive performance by Jeff Regan. And he's only a junior. And let's go back to Fayetteville. Fayetteville lost a couple games this year. They lost to Bentonville. But don't forget, this is the defending state champions in Arkansas's largest classification. And they beat Rogers Heritage 42-0, led 35-0 at halftime. Garrett Odom threw 3 touchdowns. Then they kind of took their foot off the gas, let some other kids play. But again, Fayetteville's still the defending state champion. I'm sure they'd like to get another shot at Bentonville in the playoffs, and that's happened before. Your regular season champ get beat by a team they beat during the regular season. So looking forward, we still got this week 10. We got some great rivalry games going on, but man, these playoffs are going to be fun like they always are. Elkins, number 1 in Class 4A. They beat Gravett in a showdown of unbeaten teams. Another big night for Ben Napier. He's thrown for over 1,000 yards this year, 19 touchdowns. He wasn't even penciled in as the starter this year. Landon Neal got hurt before the season started. But man, this kid, he's about 6'2", big stature right there, throws the ball all over the place. So Elkin's going to look to go undefeated in conference play if they can win it, Huntsville, and they'd be a big favorite there. So, anybody who's ever gambled, I've gambled a couple of dollars, and this is a trap game. And the Elks, I'm sure their coaching staff going to keep them focused on Huntsville, finish the job, and then you can get ready for the playoffs. Another big game over here, Bentonville West. Bentonville West beat Northside, 57-30. Trey Thompson for West passed 335 yards. Braden Nash ran for 136 yards, only 8 carries. And with that win, Bentonville West eliminated Northside. Man, just hate it for Northside. I don't know. They're traditionally been a real strong team. They're going through some phase right now. But hopefully they get it back next year. But for this year, Bentonville West is going to make the playoffs.
Okay. Let's go to our Northwest Arkansas sports report, and we'll hit on a little thing that Leland teased about, the cross-country championships for this week down at Oaklawn Park in Hot Springs. And, folks, if you've never been down there for this event, I'm telling you, it is just a really, really cool event. One, Oaklawn's a fun place to go to anyway. I mean, Rick Fires can attest to that.
Yeah, unless you're betting on a horse and lose a bunch of money like I've done.
But they've really, I mean, the facilities down there, they got a brand new hotel that overlooks the
nice
track, and the insides down there. It's just all a great time, and I love visiting Hot Springs. But the cross country championships are held inside the infield of Oaklawn, and I always tell people, you really don't appreciate how big a horse track is until you go get down in it and get inside of it. And if you're having to run back and forth as these runners are going around the course, inside the infield, and it's just, man, it's a lot of fun. You get the best of the best of the best cross-country kids in Arkansas there. And so this event will begin on Thursday down at Oaklawn. I think the smaller school divisions, I think I have that right. Maybe. Anyway, they split it up over 2 days. It used to all be in one day. Now they've split it up over 2 days. And our man Henry Apple will be heading down there this week to go cover the cross country. A big cross country up here in Northwest Arkansas, Rick. You know,
Yes.
Rogers is always really good. Bentonville is always really good. Fayetteville is always really good. All the big schools at times have been really good in this cross country meet.
You know, it's a festive atmosphere. Different schools with different nicknames, different colors, and it's just everywhere you look, there's something going on, and it's really exciting.
You get down there, they all got their tents set up, and
Yep.
just people everywhere, and it's really the one event where the fans get the closest to the action because they get down there on the infield too and are cheering. It's like when you attend a cross country race, at some event here in Northwest Arkansas or in River Valley. It's just a really cool deal.
And they start off early in the morning, and it's just get up in the morning and brisk fall day, and hopefully the weather will cooperate. Hopefully all the storms have moved out. So looking forward to the results on that.
Another cool thing, which I've always thought was real neat, but when they do the awards, you get to get up on the podium. The first and second place teams get to get up there and take a picture on this. It's almost like something out of the Roman Coliseum or something, that podium up there. It's really cool. So we'll look forward to seeing how that goes, and I know that's always a trip that our guy Henry Apple looks forward to on the state cross country meet. Really, Rick, right now we're down to we finished up golf, we finished up tennis, and now we finished up volleyball. We've got cross country left on the fall sports, and we're getting basketball started slowly but surely. But now we're talking week 10 of football, and a lot of big games up here this week. So I suppose the one game we haven't really mentioned a whole lot about is going to be Gentry at Gravette. Gravette with a tough loss at Elkins last week, 35-21. But now Gravette and Gentry, battle of Western Benton County, is going to be for the number 2 seed out of that 4A1 conference. So
that's why I'm saying we've got rivalry games all over the place. I don't care, even Rogers and Rogers Heritage, them kids, that's personal to them. That they want to give it their best, and hopefully it's a close game. I know Rogers has been dominant, and Heritage really struggled. But I'd like to see a close game there. But a lot of tradition on week 10.
Yep. Springdale Harbor, that high-flying Springdale Harbor offense in Fayetteville, they're gonna play each other at Harmon Field on Friday. I mean, there could be a lot of points scored in that game. Leland mentioned that Farmington and Shiloh Christian are both heading down the mountain to go play in the River Valley. Farmington will be at Alma, and I think that's gonna be a really good game. A healthy Alma team against a Farmington team looking to go undefeated in the 5A West. We'll see how that goes. Shiloh Christian kind of has to get back up on the stick. They lost to Lake Hamilton last week in a real shocker, I thought.
Yeah.
But we'll see how the Saints do at Van Buren. I know they'll probably arrive in a bad mood, thinking about how they lost at home to Lake Hamilton last week. Fort Smith Southside's coming up to Siloam Springs, and on the surface, you have a couple teams that are 0-6 in the 6A West, and someone's going to get a conference win there, and they'll end their season on a good note. So, and then there's the big win, which it doesn't have the same kind of buildup as it has in years past. But let me tell you, Bentonville West at Bentonville, Bentonville West has never beaten Bentonville before.
No.
And I'm not sure this will be the year either. But that in a rivalry game, it's going to be tight, and it'll be fun, and we're looking forward to that. And last, surely not least, Springdale has a chance to wrap up a number 4 seed in the 7A West Conference with a win at Fort Smith Northside. Northside is out of it, but man, they'd love to win. They'd love to end their season with a win.
And Springdale really, they lost about 3 in a row. They really need that win to, get that confidence going again, heading to postseason play. That would be a great springboard if they could go down there and win that game at Northside.
All right. We're going to take another break, and when we come back, we'll get into who you got. This is Prep Rally. And we're back with the Prep Rally Podcast, sponsored by West Termite Pest and Lawn. And gentlemen, it's time for Who You Got? Our picks for this week's games. So we're going to get started this week with a Thursday night special, Mountainburg at Johnson County West Side. So the situation here is we have two teams that are, don't have anything to play for. They're both out of the playoff running, but both would like to end their season on a win. So Mountainburg Dragons at the Johnson County West Side Rebels. I'll start us off on this one. And, our guy Ryan Allen, is a playmaker. And when he's going, Mountainburg Dragons seem to be going good. So I will take the Mountainburg Dragons to beat Johnson County West Side. Rick Fires, who you got?
I got Dragons as well.
And Leland, who do you got?
Yeah, last game of the year, both have been eliminated from the playoffs. Ryan Allen may get 40 carries. Now, I don't know if he's going to get 44 carries like Jace Dye of P. Ridge did on Friday night at Alma, but I expect he'll get a lot. And I'll take Mountainburg.
All right, I thought you might, and you're planning on attending that game. I don't know how many games you've ever attended at Johnson County West Side over the years, but man, if I know Leland always likes going to a high school football game, no matter where it's at.
I covered Johnson County West Side and Conway Christian the first year that Conway Christian joined the AAA and got out of the that private school conference they were. So it tells you how long ago that was.
All right. How about a Class 3A game? Boonville at Lavaca. Boonville with a big, strong win last week at Charleston. I kind of look for the Bearcats and Hunter Warren and the boys to keep on rolling. Give me Boonville at Lavaca. Rick Fires, who you got?
Oh, man, you got to go Boonville Bearcats. They get ready. They win this one, give them a lot of energy heading to the playoffs.
Leland, who you got?
Oh, absolutely. I think Boonville goes in there and puts on another, ground game performance. They did not attempt a single pass on Friday night against Charleston. I think they had 48 rushing attempts, 447 yards rushing. I think they do the same thing at Lavaca, but Lavaca is going to go into that, playoff on good momentum. And, they've got a chance to clinch a winning season with a win. And Cutler Winters has had a great year for them. So I think Lavaca puts on a good performance, but not good enough to beat Boonville.
All right. Class 4A, Battle of Western Benton County. Gentry at Gravett. Not real sure where the Pioneers are at with their quarterback situation. We had heard that Talon Williams might be back, but not sure he is back. So give me Gravett to win at home, bounce back after a tough loss at Elkins. Rick, who you got?
Yeah, this is going to be a good bounce back win for the Gravett Lions.
Gravett. All right. Leland, who you got?
I took Gentry in a little bit of an upset last week, and I'm going to take Gentry again because at this point, I think Gravett would almost be disappointed if I picked him to win.
Yep, they've proven you wrong a few times, haven't they, this year? So.
And I'm going to give them another chance.
All right. In Class 5A, Farmington at Alma. The Alma Airedales are not going to be able to qualify for the postseason, but I tell you what, Farmington is a good football team, and I know Alma is a good football team. They're not going to make the playoffs, but they got good football players over there. I hear they're healthy. You know what? Alma's had some tough losses this year, so give me Alma. I'm taking the Alma Airedales at home on senior night to beat Farmington. Rick Fires, who you got?
I think Farmington going to close it out, win the go undefeated in conference play. Give me Farmington and that new coach called Tommy Tice.
All right. Leland, who you got in this one?
There's on the surface, this game looks like, it should easily be Farmington that wins. They've already clinched the top seed. They're going for an undefeated conference championship against a team that's been eliminated from the playoffs. But there's a lot underneath the surface on this game. First of all, Coach Vines is going to be there Friday night, and they're going to honor the three state championship teams that he had during the years. 1980, 1997, and 1998. So they're going to bring those teams in and they're going to honor those teams to welcome back Tom Tice to Airedale Stadium on Friday night. Uh, so
That
I
is
just can't see the Alma Airedales with Frank Vines in attendance, honoring the three state championship teams that he had, letting and allowing Tom Tice to come to Alma and win. So I will take the Alma Airedales to win on Friday night and upset Tom Tice.
that is so cool. They're doing that. That is. I loved when Frankie Vines was leading Alma and Tice is up there at Harrison, man. And for them to come and do this and honor that team, that is so. That's impressive right there. Whoever put that together, good job.
Well,
Well, and you know, those two coaches, Coach Tice and Coach Vines, are fantastic friends and
Yep.
buddies with each other. And there's never been a coaching matchup in the state where two coaches played against each other more than Tom Tice and Frank Vines.
that's just really cool.
Special night. Yep.
All right. How about Class 6A? Another one in the River Valley. Shiloh Christian at Van Buren. Um, as I said, I think Shiloh Christian shows up in a bad mood after losing to Lake Hamilton last week, and Van Buren's been kind of up and down. They're going to keep playing ball after this week, but I think Shiloh Christian's too much for them this week. Rick, who you got?
So and Shiloh lost at home to Lake Hamilton.
They
Is that
did,
right?
yes, sir.
See, I mean, who would have guessed that? Because that's a hard drive for Lake Hamilton to get up here. And Shiloh Christian, they call it the Field of Champions. That is impressive. So yeah, you're exactly right. I think Shiloh Christian. I think they went back to work, and I think they will win a pretty important game over Van Buren on Friday.
And I think Leland, if I'm right, wouldn't that lock up maybe the number 2 seed? Well, I guess it depends on what happens with Mountain Home and Greenwood, but there's a lot to play for Shiloh there.
Well, and more than just a bounce back win for Shiloh Christian. Yes, they have to win to be able to get that number 2 seed, which is gigantic in the playoffs. So there's a lot in addition to just bouncing back from a home loss last week. But I think the Saints roll.
Okay. How about our River Valley game of the week, Class 6A? We'll start off over here. Mountain Home at Greenwood. I mean, and on the night when they're going to be honoring their fallen teammate Isaiah Arrington, no question in my mind. Greenwood big. Rick, who you got?
Well, you know what? Normally I would say Greenwood big, but man, how do kids, 17, 18, 16-year-old kids, how they deal with this? How they come back and play a football game that didn't mean squat compared to what happened to their teammate this week. I don't know how they're going to do it, but I guess I'll take Greenwood just slightly over Mountain Home. Mountain Home's a real good team, but man, this is hard to predict for me.
All right, Leland, who you got?
Yeah, it's a tough one because I think Mountain Home is very good. And this is another one of those games. Mountain Home runs the ball. They run it very effectively. So this is another one of those games where offensive possessions are going to be limited. But they're not going to be limited enough to slow down Greenwood. When they have the ball, they're going to score. They've won 67 straight games at home. So they're not going to lose this one with the conference championship and the top seed on the line. I think Greenwood rolls even by the mercy rule.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Class 7A, another big one down in the River Valley. Springdale at Fort Smith Northside. And, it's another one of those watch-out games. You think Northside may not be motivated, but, they can't make the playoffs. But, they've been kind of due to really bounce back. And for a while there against Bentonville West, they played well. But I'm going to go with Springdale to beat Fort Smith Northside in a close ball game on the road. Leland, who you got in this one? We'll start with you on that one.
Yeah, this is a tough one. And if this game was at Springdale, I might agree that, Northside would just kind of, maybe just not mail it in, but, kind of maybe a little bit go through the motions because it's the season finale. They don't have anything to play for. But I think they do have something to play for because it's at Mayo Thompson Stadium, and there's a lot of history there. They're not going to roll over for Springdale. But the key to this game is going to be the quarterback play because with Jack Pounders out, Springdale now has started a different quarterback each of the last 3 games. Northside has played 3 quarterbacks, a lot of playing time throughout the season. So I still think though that Springdale's ground game is the difference, and Springdale wins this and takes that 4th seed and the momentum into the playoffs.
All right, Rick, who you got?
I think that there's a lot of pressure on Springdale to win this game. If you're Northside, you play loosey-goosey. If you're the coach, maybe, hey, get some a sophomore in there, let him start at left tackle or running back or something, switch everything up. Maybe get a look at some kids for next year. Springdale, you got to go down there and play on their field. You got to come through no matter who's playing the quarterback position. So I think the pressure's on Springdale, but I think they do come through in a fairly close game.
All right, and our Northwest Arkansas game of the week, Bentonville West at Bentonville. As I said earlier, Bentonville West has never beaten Bentonville before. And, West is 3-6, but they've won 3 in a row in conference play. Bentonville is 6-3 and has won 6 in a row and is undefeated in conference play. Man, it's hard to go against Bentonville right now. They're playing really well and really showing great balance on offense. So I'll take Bentonville to beat Bentonville West. Leland, who you got?
Someday, Bentonville West is going to beat Bentonville. That day is not Friday night. Tigers roll.
And Rick's pick, who you got?
Yeah, Bentonville's won, I don't know, about a dozen conference championships, and they'll just add to that. Bentonville finishes 7-0 in conference play with win over Bentonville West.
All right. I forgot to mention the standings from this past week. So by my count, boys, everybody went 6-2. So we're all still in the same position as we were last week, with Rick Fires holding a 1-game lead over yours truly, and Leland's about 4 games back of the leader. But can make we've still got a lot of football to play, so we'll see how this shakes out.
Well, and since I am in last place, I want to invoke the Beano Cook rule again and throw in a bonus pick.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, we got a big one.
Bryant over Conway on Friday night. It's a rare matchup of number 1 versus number 2 in the Arkansas Sports Media Poll. This is only the 21st meeting between the top 2 teams in the state since 1983, so they don't come around very often. But I think the difference is Bryant's ability to do both things so well, run and pass. I think it was 5 years ago, their state championship team for the season rushed for over 3,000 yards, passed for over 3,000 yards. That's incredible balance for any team on any level, but especially the state's largest classification. And that kind of signifies what Bryant's all about. And this team won't match that quite, but it's still a very dangerous team. And I think Bryant wins the first of 2 matchups between Bryant and Conway.
Well, I picked Conway at the beginning of the year to win the 7A Central and the 7A State Championship, so I'm not going away from Conway and Buck James, so give me Conway.
I'm going with Conway as well. And, I know how Leland is, man. I'm in the lead right here, and I look over my shoulder looking at you, and here comes Leland around the curve right here, catching up here. And I got to keep him behind me, so I'm going to go against him. I'm going to go Conway.
Well, I throw these in occasionally, thinking that I might be able to sneak up and get one from you.
I'm watching you.
All right, well, that wraps up another edition of the Prep Rally podcast, and we'd like to thank our sponsor, West Termite Pest and Lawn. Last regular season game for a lot of teams this week, and they'll be hanging up the football gear and putting on the basketball shoes for some. But man, it goes by quick, doesn't it, Rick?
Yeah, and it's like my friend calls me and wants to talk about basketball. I said, dude, man, we still got plenty of football up here left in Northwest Arkansas. I'll talk to you about basketball in December. But, yeah, even though the regular season's over and you hate it for the kids who didn't make the playoff, but, man, I'm looking forward to this final week, rivalry week, and then heading to the playoffs. We still got plenty of football to go.
All right. Well, for Leland Barclay in the River Valley, for Rick Fires in Northwest Arkansas, I'm Graham Thomas signing off. We love you.